Hello! Welcome to another episode of the Waffle Press TV Hangouts. I almost forgot the name. It has been a week. I am your host, Diego Crespo. With me is Emily Sophia. How are you doing today?
Yeah, it has also been a week in the life of Emily, so I feel like that's descriptive enough. But I mean, as productive as I could hope, considering how little I sleep these days.
Well, sleep is unnecessary. Sleep
Yeah,
stops us from catching up on our favorite TV shows.
exactly.
hmm
Precisely.
Yeah, well, so we've got a couple topics today. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Last Man on Earth are our main topics, but Emily and I have some quick uh, minute or two reviews, spoiler-free recommendation type things. So, Emily, what you got for us today?
So, a couple of other shows that I have been watching and that have been airing recently are The Path on Hulu, which I believe we are 4 episodes into that. And then also Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which has its season 1 finale next week. And they will be coming back for a second season too. So I'm looking forward to a lot more content from them. Once again, I beseech, I implore you to check out Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. It is good for your soul. It is good for whatever thread of insanity there may be in your mind. It's musical and it's great. And don't knock it till you try it. But yeah, so the last episode of that just aired, the penultimate episode of season 1, there is a major plot twist that could be pretty game-changing for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. But yeah, it continues to be fresh and fun and ludicrous and utterly unfiltered, and it's great. So check that out. And then also, if you have a Hulu subscription, which I know that can be so obnoxious, but just before I could convince myself to actually cut my ties with that service, I did start watching The Path, which has the likes of Hugh Dancy and Aaron Paul and so many big talented names. Really interesting, family-oriented drama about a cult or a movement and the suspicious ways of the leader who is seemingly trying to lead these people toward the light. And I really like the approach that this show is taking so far in that it's very character centric. Most of my favorite shows are very much that. And yeah, The Path continues to delight and excite and do very interesting things. It's not a perfect show by any stretch. It's not necessarily revolutionary television, but it is very compelling, and it does seem to have a path that it is following. So we'll see where that goes. But those are my recommendations.
Great, and I got one quick one. It's well, not so much a recommendation because I brought it up already before, but iZombie just wrapped up its season 2, and it is also coming back for season 3. Like pretty much all the shows we've been talking about to watch on CW are coming back for another season, so it's kind of a miracle that I
Yeah.
don't have to say goodbye to anything right now. That makes me very happy, and makes me even more happy because iZombie season 2 is fantastic, improves on the first season in every way. Not that there was really that much wrong with the first season. It was solid and constantly entertaining and surprisingly evolutionary. Like they weren't afraid to push the envelope for their storytelling, and season 2 continued that trend because it is not the same show that it started out in 2015. It is I don't know how they continue the story in a good way, not like in a writing like I don't think they wrote themselves into a corner. I think
Mhm.
if you're writing inside of a box for a season, I just found out that the box was actually like an octagon, so that was fun. Um, I won't say too much because spoilers, and Emily is hopefully going to start soon. I know time and
Yes.
everything, but I know it's on your agenda now. And
hmm
all I will say is I was astonished to see the level of action that this season finale had. The landscape of the series has changed forever, and boy, that was such a much better finale including zombies and The Walking Dead. Like I know I don't want to keep prying on that, but man, best episode of the series thus far.
Um,
Yeah, I am in awe, and I cannot wait for season 3.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to start.
Oh, you have no idea what you're in for. It's so much fun, so much fun. And on that note, let's get right into the meat of things again. Last Man on Earth, episode 14, season 2, Skidmark. The Miller brothers are reunited in a wonderful, sort of heartwarming way, and then also not so heartwarming way, because if you have siblings, I don't, but I know what it's like to have siblings. Not everyone gets along all the time, and it can be bad. And knowing Tandy and his relationship to jealousy and needing to be liked all the time, it goes about as well as you'd expect. But I also like this episode a lot because once again they don't revert to old Phil tropes in like a bad way. Like when Tandy acts a certain way now, he's not just being a jerk. He's being like needy, or like he doesn't know any better. Like he's still an idiot, but he's not an asshole. And I'm still just so glad that they've managed to keep a grab on that. What did you think of this episode?
Yeah, I think I agree. You know, I saw some people writing reviews saying like, oh, we have to go back to the old Tandy tropes. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. I mean, sure, this episode skirted closer to that than previous episodes, but it's a familial relationship. And, you know, it's interesting. I myself having a younger sister, I very much understand how that kind of dynamic can feel. And I actually get a lot of the frustration that Tandy was expressing with everybody fawning over his brother. And like the whole the scene that I loved was when they were all down at the beach having a bonfire, and and Mike is singing Space Oddity by David Bowie, just like this beautiful, heart-rending rendition, and Tandy's just like, stupid freaking. you can't even take it. And so he ends up throwing his own concert, which doesn't exactly go as planned in typical Tandy fashion. But it's like you said, like there's an honesty to his tantrum. So it's not just blindly acting out or trying to fool anyone. He's like, hey, I'm still here, you know? Yeah, so I think it was a very good episode in that sense. Very game-changing in the facial hair department as well.
Oh, yeah.
I actually, well, I mean, I follow Will Forte on Twitter, and I saw the pictures already, so I knew that something ridiculous was going to be happening in the show. But that was a very fun little cliffhanger to end on, and shows that the feud is not necessarily over. But much like the redemption arc that Tandy got with Phil 2.0, I definitely think that we're on a similar trajectory between Tandy and his brother. And it continued to be very, very entertaining, very sad at times as well. Being a sibling, I totally get how that stuff goes. So very solid episode, and I continue to love it more and more. So
Yeah. A quick little note is that I also really like the arc that he got with Phil, who is, dead and no longer with
Right.
us, but he still gets an arc to close off that part of his life. Phil didn't like him.
Yeah.
There's no upside to that. Like, he just didn't like him. Like, I guess he liked him enough that he decided he could live with him.
Yeah.
But they were never going to be friends. And I like that the show doesn't sugarcoat that, and that's okay. You're not going to get along with everyone. Tandy certainly didn't, and that's just the way that is. Like, he just has to put up with that and live with that. And I thought that was a really well written little arc for this episode to close off that part of his life. And I'm genuinely curious to see what happens with Melissa and her baby. Melissa, did I mess that up?
I know it's not Melissa, but now the name is getting away from me.
Shoot.
This happens to me all the time. I'm so glad it's not just me.
Yeah, this is.
Oh my gosh. What's your name? What's your name? Oh, that's so upsetting to me. Oh, I can't deal with it. IMDb, help! Help!
Yeah, I know. I'm looking for it too. Okay, well, yeah, I think
Erica.
I'm mixing up
Erica.
Erica. There you go. I think I'm actually mixing up episodes this week, actually, but
That's okay,
I
because
don't know. Yeah,
we missed a couple. We didn't even get to talk about the whole one about Phil's infertility problems.
yeah, or Valhalla. No, we did we talk about Valhalla?
I think we
This is what the week
did.
has done. This is what the week has done
Yeah,
to us.
it's all running together. You're not
Yeah,
alone.
all the episodes are available on TV Hangouts, and I promise they're less embarrassing than this. But yeah, great
Oh,
episode.
I also have to ask, what do you think about Todd's little dynamic? You know, his
Oh
little big
yeah.
love
So
proposal.
that was awkward and hilarious and cringe-inducing in the best way. It
Yep.
reminded me of like The Office, but in a way that only the last man could pull off.
Oh yeah, totally, totally. The whole scene with all of them one by one approaching him in the kitchen, like forcing him to re-explain himself over and over.
Yeah.
It was just so touching and so terrible. And then ultimately, Gail and Melissa come to the conclusion that they just can't let Todd go. So,
So they're gonna do the do.
I guess.
Like that's what's so great about this show. Like it's a comedy, but these specific plots and arcs can't be done by any other comedy because they don't take place in a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Yep, they can take whatever risks they want because it doesn't really matter, you know?
Yeah, they're just gonna roll with it.
Yep.
Yep. So that was this week's episode of Last Man on Earth and some other episodes, I'm sure.
Yes.
So let's talk about this week's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode 16, season 3, Paradise Lost. Emily,
Yes.
please take it away.
Yeah. So, very, very interesting, very different episode. Thematically was very much focused on a lot of different characters' relationships with their past. In the past coming back to haunt them. Like if you think about pretty much all the major plot threads that we had, everybody is dealing with their demons coming out of the closet, you know, from Malik trying to conceal his misdeeds and the way that he ultimately sacrificed his brother's life to further his own life and career and what have you, his own ambitions, to Coulson reflecting on the fact that his vengeful murder of Ward has now led to the manifestation of Hive on Earth. So he's grappling with that in a pretty major way. We also get a bit of a side plot too with Daisy and name I am forgetting because this is what is happening today, Lincoln. This is the day of forget all the minor character names.
Yep.
Forget minor character names day. You know, it's Thursday. But anyway, so Daisy and Lincoln go out into the desert to find a dude who knows about Hive and like the dawn of the Inhumans and so on and so forth. And so in that vein, we get to learn a little bit more about Lincoln's past as well. And I think that they're much like what the show did with Sky / Daisy, in that she wasn't immediately all that likable from the beginning, and now we totally get her. I'm kind of in the same place with Lincoln, where I never really found him all that compelling or interesting. Even after we first met him in Afterlife, I was just like, oh, he's just kind of a generally good-looking dude, but he's kind of cardboard. And so now getting into his past with his alcoholism and looking into what ultimately brought him to Afterlife and the terrible accident that led up to that point, we can see that they're trying to not only break down some barriers between Daisy and Lincoln and try and make things legit, but they're trying to really flesh him out as a character, you know, give him some troubles, give us a better sense of who he is and where he comes from. I am hoping to like him more in the future. But yeah, as far as stuff with Malik and Hive goes, I was actually very taken aback that Hive took his daughter's life. I certainly could tell that she was in Hive's crosshairs, and they were giving her a lot of screen time. You know, there was a lot of intimate moments with her and her father, and all of that stuff. And so ultimately, when it came down to that final soul-crushing moment, I was still a little bit shocked, though, at just the seeming mercilessness of it. But for Hive, really, he was just kind of evening things out the way that he sees fit and doling out the punishments that he sees fit and putting Malik in his place in a very big way. And it's cool to get to have an episode that is so centered on the humbling and the hubris of a major villain and antagonist, to the point that you're really kind of feeling bad for him. So, yeah, I think that this episode had a lot going for it. What did you think?
Yeah, that misdirection with Stephanie, his daughter, really caught me off guard, because I thought they were setting up a sort of like, not like Bride of Frankenstein type thing, but like...
Oh yeah, the Bride of Hive.
Yeah. And so, nope, she's dead. That's it. But, you know, this was a good misdirection, and I really like this villain, or all these villains this season now. And I appreciate the efforts they're taking to fix Lincoln as a character. I still kind of want him just to die.
I know.
I sound like
kill him off.
The actor's not doing a bad job. Just the character's not doing anything for me. He's like the one weak spot for me this season.
Yeah.
But no. This episode as a whole, I think, is really doing a good job of, like the previous episode, setting things in place for a very different conflict from what we've seen in the show, but also getting into the nice character stuff that the show has really evolved into and done a good job of once it's finally hit its stride. As for Gideon, like I find him very compelling, and I can't really place why yet. I think Powers Booth is great at everything ever. I really love him as a character actor. I think he's one of the best. But I guess getting to know his history as well as Lincoln's really sets the tone for a very different episode. You know, like, on the surface, it's really not that drastically different, but I guess because we're starting to see these smaller characters get the limelight, and you know, you want to understand everyone on your show. No matter what show it is, you want to understand where everyone comes from, whether or not you agree with them. And this is a good step forward for that now. And I very much appreciate that, because I want to like Lincoln. The actor's not a bad actor. Just please, God Almighty, do something.
I know he's vanilla and cardboard, and I just can't. I can't really move past it either. I mean, like, and they're pairing him with a character as powerful as Daisy with good reason, because they're trying to say, like, hey, look who she's hanging out with. Isn't he so cool? And I'm not fully buying it yet. I appreciate what they did, but at the same time, I think a mercy killing might be in order.
Yeah, you know, that'll drive the narrative. I mean, how many women get killed off for no reason all the time on TV shows, you know? So, you know, let a straight white male get killed off on a TV show just to
come on, we want blood.
Yeah. I demand a blood sacrifice from the show.
Bring us your white males.
That's gonna go on my tombstone when I die. Yeah. But no, another really good episode for S.H.I.E.L.D. this week, and I really do appreciate the lengths they're going to try and convince me that Lincoln is better than I think he is. And who knows, by the end of the season, I might actually be into him. They might do some really interesting stuff with him. But as right now, they're on the right path, at least.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the Secret Warriors are coming next week, apparently.
Oh,
So
yes,
that's a
yes.
thing.
I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
And I kind of
Mm-hmm.
hope that it's more impressive than last season's Masters of Evil type thing, because that was like
I
one
know.
episode,
It's
and that
gotta be
was
better than that.
disappointing.
Oh, it has
Oh,
to be better. They should bring Kyle MacLachlan back also, like just for the hell of it.
oh, they
Can
should.
he be a
Totally should.
secret warrior too? That'd be really secret for me.
Like he just has to like inform the team of their missions. That's it. You know,
Yep,
he doesn't have to go out into the field. Or you know what? Let him go out into the field and let him like talk his way through conflicts. You know, we
exactly.
don't need action scene. We just need Kyle MacLachlan scenes.
That's all. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And I guess that pretty much wraps it up for us this week, unless you had anything else you wanted to add.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the big stuff. Yeah, I think we did it. No matter how many
All
names
right.
we forgot.
Oh, too many this week. But on that note, Emily, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Mighty Sophia. That's EN, the word mighty, SOFIA. I am doing TV reviews currently. Bates Motel, Better Call Saul. I will be doing a review of The Path. I will be picking Game of Thrones back up by the end of the month, and lots of other jazz too. And you can also follow me on Facebook and especially my Twitter, which is my main hub for YouTube updates too. So that's where you can find me.
Great. And of course, you can find me on the Waffle Press at Diggle Waffles on Twitter, Facebook, Waffle Press, Tumblr, Waffle Press, all of that Waffle Press stuff. If you like this, like, subscribe. If you didn't like it, like, subscribe anyways. You might find something you do like. Thanks for watching, guys. We have been professionally unprofessional.